Albert A. Wall, the voice of the jungle, broadcasting on the DVC to all points unknown. If you're within the sound of my voice, you're listening to Welcome Home Podcast on the DVC.
Hello and welcome home, and welcome to the Waitlist. Those of you that are new to the show, or, haven't listened in a while, the Waitlist is a show that we do that's a topic-based show when we're off doing other things.
Really, Tom doing other things at this point.
Well, that's a fair.
Yeah.
There's too much of Tom work that needs to get done. That when he goes away, it makes it difficult.
It does. But
I'm going to be away for a long time because I do 2 Waitlists, and then I'm in Disney.
Yeah. You're going to be gone until, what's the next show that you're going to do?
Wow, I don't have to record a show for 4 weeks.
I mean, pretty much.
Craziness, man. Crazy.
Yeah, it's going to be weird. Yeah, but yeah, you're right. I mean, it is because I'm going to be gone the next 2 weekends.
That's okay. Tom's allowed to be gone.
Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah.
I think. Sure.
What do you mean? Maybe you think?
Maybe, I guess.
There's a lot of. I like that you called it Tom work. That's.
Yeah, that's a thing. That's definitely a thing on the podcast. So before we even get started, because there is no episodes for me to pub stuff, I feel like I have to pub it in the Waitlist. Okay. So everyone go listen to my son's new song, Nicky Caps, on Spotify or any of the other ones. He's got a new song. We're doing publicity for it. I didn't realize how hard marketing and publicity is. The podcast for us kind of just did its own.
Yeah,
right?
Sure. It really did. Yeah.
It's gosh, it's kind of hard doing this.
We got lucky, really, with this.
Yeah. So,
I mean, we did a little bit of stuff where we were going to groups and recommend. People would oh, what podcasts do you listen to? And we would recommend, but for the most part, we stopped doing that a long time ago.
Absolutely. So yeah. So anyway, he needs some listens there. It's Christian hip hop. So go listen, help him out, spread the word. There we go.
Gotcha.
Right on.
Now we can talk about our wait list.
Yeah. So
we have no listener questions. We have nothing.
No. There's no. I know we feel lost here because there's not even a rundown, right? Usually we have
a question that we're going to.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, we just have
a single question.
A single question, and that single question is: we decided in the since we just found out that the Starcruiser is going to be closing after September. What could we come up with that they're going to use, that they could or should use that building for in the future?
And I think that becomes a thing, right? Could and should are 2 different things.
They are.
Yeah. For me, what I would really love to see that turn into is kind of one of those, things they have at a theater, you know what I mean? Dinner theater. So,
because they have all that stage space where they do
have
that
that
show
already. Yep. So what I'm saying is they have the facilities to do the food. They have the facilities to put on a little bit of a show, and it could even be a show that kind of made its way around the ship. Right. It doesn't necessarily have to be a static show. What was the Tina and whatever's wedding? Remember that thing that was going on? You were kind of part of the wedding.
Yeah. I forget what it's called though.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. But it could be
that interactive theater.
Interactive theater.
Yeah.
And I think that you start to solve some of the problems that you have with the place, right? Okay, so, wasn't necessarily cost effective. And that's just our guess. Again, we don't see the bottom line, so we don't know. I mean, it's an assumption of ours that it wasn't cost effective and that, you'd have to keep on a lot of cast members to continue this. But I think this would be something where it wouldn't be so bad. You're running it once a day. And it doesn't even have to be every day, right? You can kind of get a feel for what you want, but you do want to keep those cast members on. So it would be great if it was once a day. You pay a cost for that, kind of like you do for character dining. You know how everyone loves character dining.
Hoop-de-doo.
Yeah.
You like exactly the same thing as Hoop-de-doo, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think the cost is going to be a lot higher because you are getting a show, right? So
yeah,
that's not a true honest to goodness show. So yeah, but that's kind of what my thought suggests. I don't see where, you have to worry so much then about, the money. I mean, I guess the cast members could be doing other things in Star Wars as well. You could kind of have them doing stuff during the day in Galaxy's Edge and then bring them over for that. I kind of feel if we want to start from a business standpoint, what kind of makes sense. That's how, that's for me, that's kind of one end of it. And then the other end would just be turning it into a different hotel, right? Which I think we all probably have this idea is could you make a DVC hotel out of it, right?
All Stars, new All Stars hotel.
It's too small for All Stars. All Stars needs like 1,000 rooms.
I think it would have to be
All Stars Wars.
Yeah, All Stars Wars. I think it would have to be kind of that boutique experience that they're talking about. But I think part of the problem with that was having that show, right? So I think you lean into one or the other.
Yeah.
You lean
either
into
eliminate
the show,
hotel piece, or and keep the show, or
eliminate the show and keep the hotel. Because I think you could do very small things with a hotel. Like it was interesting when we went to Dollywood and there's a Christmas time inn, which we really kind of like, right? They do like a small little Christmas thing every night, super small, not a big deal, right? Like Santa reads, does some cookies, boom, you're done. I think you could keep it as a hotel with way less cast members. So not necessarily a story, but maybe just some more interactions and then call it a day.
So,
those are my
saying
two
like
thoughts.
Chewbacca just wanders around the lobby every once in a while and takes some pictures with people.
Yeah, maybe a little bit more than that, but not much more than that. Yes.
Yeah.
All right. See, like I kind of prefer the other way where you make it Star Wars Hoop-de-Doo, where it's like a 2-hour dinner show experience.
Yep.
You do the dinner part, because they already have that set up, like you said, right? Like they've got the restaurant set up, they have the space for them to perform, and then maybe they do a little show out in the lobby, and then you're out of there.
Do you think that they could do it for lunch and dinner and be profitable?
Yeah, I mean, Hoop-de-Doo Review does how many shows a night or a day? I mean, they do several, right?
3, I believe it's 3 a day.
Yeah, I mean, and there's a decent sized cast in that, right? But I mean,
it's very controlled, though. Is that like it's
sure.
like I guess this is the thing, like you're talking about, is that it would be a very like you couldn't just hang out there. It would be you're here from like the next hour or hour and a half, and you're out, right?
Well, you can even make it right so that while you're waiting to go into dinner, you're hanging out in the lobby, and they do a pre-show there, right? So like they have some sort of the ending show that I saw videos of, right, where they like have the lightsaber battles and all that stuff, right? And then and that way you get it out of the way while people are just waiting. It's just like the pre-show room to make it feel like you're waiting less time, right? And then you go into the dinner, and then they have the whole dinner show thing. Like I don't know, I think that could work.
Okay.
I mean, they make it work with Hoop-de-Doo, like I said. I mean, but at the same time, you're utilizing what, like a quarter of the building,
But what if you had multiple of those going on?
What do you mean, like multiple shows at once?
Oh yeah, I guess you could reutilize the space so you can like double up on it.
Yeah, but I think they only have the one dining room though. They'd have to like you're saying like do construction and
no.
I mean, room. But if they're getting rid of the hotel. Like that's a ton of space where like
not only that, but like like when you have that you have a dinner show, you could do it where there's dinner then something or something then dinner, right? You could just have it where you're flip-flopping.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
so that way you're utilizing all the areas. And again, I would say it's more of an interactive show, so you could keep some of the rooms open. Plus, I think what you do is you flip the rest of the rooms into like offices for Disney and bring people that work at Disney proper in there.
It just
that would be awesome. Imagine that's where you're working.
That's an interesting idea. That'd be such a weird place to work. I hate.
Would it really though? I mean, if you're working at Disney already,
it would be awesome. Is what it would be.
Yeah.
The problem is that there's no real windows, right? So, like, I mean. I think I would get a little
PowerPoint presentations galore.
What do you mean presentations galore?
No, like what I'm saying, like if you're presenting on a call, it could be the screen of your PowerPoint. Like if you're doing work,
it's the
like,
window,
it could be a monitor,
the screen window.
Yeah, just be your monitor, and you're working. Like that's your external monitor. There you go.
And you got a private bathroom right there in your office,
exactly.
Which is nice to have. It's interesting though, because I could see them still utilizing the hotel aspect for like special events or something. You know what I mean? Like maybe like a one night thing that they do that's like a special paid event.
Well, what about if it wasn't even that, but it was kind of like where they used it for the business end of it, so that
conference type stuff,
their own personal stuff, like.
Wedding venue.
Well, it could be a wedding venue, sure. I just don't know. Oh, man, that wedding would be really expensive. But I'm almost thinking I like this conference idea Like if you're bringing in everyone, that's not a bad idea.
Problem is you only have 100 rooms, right? So like, and then you're renting out the whole facility, right?
Yeah,
Unless
and then there's like Coronado has like that's the conference center. So,
but not conference center for internal conference center.
Just for their own stuff. Like, okay,
yes. Yeah.
I mean, I can see it as a wedding venue. You know, somebody, some uber Star Wars fans with money would pay.
Hey, listen, I agree with you, but I just don't know. Like, so what are you getting in this wedding venue? Are you getting a show or just straight wedding venue? If it's just straight wedding venue, okay, but I just think it's going to be, not being used all the time. But
but I mean, the problem, right?
Is it?
Yeah.
I mean,
because there's not a lineup of people for Star Wars weddings that it would be booked on a regular.
I mean, there might be for the first year, but then that's kind of the problem they ran into, right?
Does it matter though, right? Like, because the building's there anyway, right? Like, so they're paying for whatever.
I mean, there's still maintenance on the building, though.
Yeah, no, of course, but they're not going to just let it sit there and rot. I don't think. Like, I just don't believe that they're going to do that.
River Country.
I think they're going to use it for stuff. Like, I think they're going to come up with
Discovery Island.
ideas.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that
River Country, Discovery Island.
Yeah, okay, that's fair, but that was different. Okay,
okay,
that is different. Okay,
there was animals involved there.
Yeah, there's
not a river country. I mean,
all right, listen, that's not the same thing as this. I see, but I think if they offered it as a wedding venue and it only happened like twice a year, listen, like I think there's still probably
we don't have the void anymore. What if they just turned it into straight up Star Wars laser tag? Boom, done. That's it. Yeah, it's the best thing ever invented, and we charge $1 million. We're all going.
Yeah, Damon, you've hit on something.
I won this one. I won the wait list. Everybody.
Okay, hold on. Okay.
Trevor wants to flesh this out. He has to flesh it out.
Wait, give me a second. I'm brainstorming. Okay. So, because the thing is, because I was thinking about the problem is you've got that connection, like they have the truck transport between Hollywood Studios and the hotel, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
And I was like, for any kind of stuff like this, how do you do that? But then it's like, oh, well, you're getting there to get to a show. So like, yeah, like it feels like awkward that way. But if you make the whole building, like, because the thing is the whole building is the experience right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
But if you turn it into like you said, crank up the void, like it's just full on, like you're in a Star Wars
battle. Laser tag battle, right? Think about it.
And it's just, you're just like going through a Starcruiser. Like that's crazy.
And the amount of money that you could flip on that, you just run battles every hour, let's say. They call it 2 hours just because, right? 2 hour battle. I'm paying a boatload of money. You don't even have to ask me twice. And it's literally Rebels, Empire, battle it out, laser tag.
Yeah, and that fills in, people are battling one another. So like you can still throw in character actors to help kind of
absolutely
move things along. But the whole experience comes from just like you said, that team versus team.
I think you cut down on CMs, you cut down on food, you up the cost dramatically because you're flipping money hour over hour now.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I mean,
next episode.
Yeah.
If you're gonna do that, right? Like you need to have, like, if you're gonna be part of like Empire, right? Like I feel like the vests need to be themed to like stormtroopers, right? Like you need to look, and you need to have like blasters. Like it has to be themed stuff. It can't.
They need to have their own like boarding area. Like if you're going Rebel side, you board in one area. If you're going, if you're going Empire, you're boarding somewhere else. And so they can do the transport. I'm sure that they could probably do it into like either end of the building, because it's,
I don't even know if you really even need to go that far. I think you can reuse the transport. Everyone could come in together, because I almost think that you're not going to want people to get to know what side they're on until they're in. I just think it creates transport
so
issues.
So you're not choosing, you're just getting,
I think you got a lot of weird interactions on the transport should you not do that, right? Like there's some really competitive people. So
okay, so this is the thing, is I've done competitive laser tag before.
I've done a lot of paintball,
corporate events and stuff. And and actually was even with my brother, because we were working at the same company for a little while. And the thing is that if we weren't able to plan our team, strategy would have just gone out the window, and it would have been less fun for me. But I know what you're saying is that,
you're not, it's not at that level, right?
Not everybody strategizes, but I would love to have the opportunity to be like, at least, hey, me and my family are on the same team.
Yes, you and your family are definitely in the same group. It's just that the family, like outside your family group, is different, right? So when you check in, you're checking in with your family or your group, right? Because it could be more than just your family per se, right? They have to balance out the numbers, right? And then you kind of go, but you don't know what side you're on until you get in, which I think is appropriate.
Do you know what needs to make this even better?
A garbage pit? Or besides that?
Well, I'm sure they could slot it in somewhere, but there actually needs to be a third faction. It can't just be one v or like one side versus the other, because they're in the Star Wars universe. There's the rebels, there's the Empire, and then there's the traitors, bounty hunters, independent.
So let those people, though, the bounty hunters and stuff, be played by cast members, right? Okay. And they can just kind of keep it interesting, let's say, right? Well, so they could be... Because I think if you introduce a third faction, right, you want to make sure that you're getting 5-year-olds playing, right? And it's unfortunate that... But you have to make sure everyone plays. So I just don't... I think a third faction kind of complicates it a little bit. You're not going to be in there for a whole day. It's not going to be like real laser tag.
No, it would be like an hour.
It's an hour, yeah. It's an hour. And then it's experience. Now, the question is, how much are you paying for that? Because it can't be part of what's going on. You have to pay.
Has to be, yeah.
I mean, at the very least, void prices probably even...
What was the void?
You could probably even go double void prices, because, I mean, think about how many people you're getting through there per day.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that is... Now, all of a sudden, this becomes a moneymaker, right? And you're just pumping people through this thing. It's taking people out of the park, which, again, is not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, I would love that experience, because don't you always kind of dream, like when you're playing like laser tag or paintball, like it's kind of a dream to like play something like this,
have it actually like themed and not the
and I think
trying to
yes, I think the only problem that we have here is this is Disney, right?
Yeah.
So how do we keep nonsense out of this, right? Because even you have paintball, you have laser tag, you have this. There's nonsense. Nonsense transpires. I didn't get hit. That person cheated. Like that. You have all that. How do you limit that?
Well, I mean, kind of the same way you do in laser tag. Sorry, go ahead, Tom.
No, I was going to say, to the surprise of nobody, when I was a teenager, I actually worked at a laser tag place.
Sweet.
It was the best job I ever had. I wish I still had it, making $6 an hour or $5 an hour, whatever it was. But yeah, so like I used to be the referee guy walking around while people were playing laser tag. And, people just getting hurt all the time, or like running into each other, or like you said, Damon, like, breaking stuff or breaking the rules, or just, it's really hard to prevent shenanigans from going on, right?
Yeah. So I think what you'd have to do is you'd have to dumb it down enough that the shenanigans were non-existent. You kind of know what I'm saying? Like, where it's almost like, this is what I'm thinking. So when you go in, there's no real interaction with the competition or scoring until the game's over. Okay. So I think that kind of stops your shenanigans a little bit. Listen, you want to cover your thing up. There's 100 people on each side, or whatever number we have. It's a little irrelevant, but there's no like, hey, I have anything that shows really how many times I've gotten hit or hit other people besides me counting on my own of how many times I've gotten hit.
Yeah. You
get what I'm saying? And then I think at the end, there's a presentation. Boom, there's a number, 49,000 to 48,000, Rebels win. All right, Rebels. See you later. Yeah, see you later. Everyone get out. Right? Like, I think you got to do something. I think that eliminates a lot of that.
That's kind of how it went or at least the laser tag place in my city, that's how it would operate, is that you didn't have any knowledge of like who shot you and stuff like that. And you didn't know where you really were in the standings.
No running scores. Yeah.
Yeah, and then at the end, everyone got their tally, and you actually got a score sheet, because you had different points that you would get. Like there was like 6 points on the vest you could get hit on, and it would tally up points based on where you got hit, and that determines your score at the end of it. So I feel they could do something like that, and then back to the point about cheaters and stuff, is that, I mean, one, it's Disney can set it up in such a way that they have monitoring, marshals keeping tabs on things. And then, like, again, what I've seen more recently with places like this is that they can actually put people into timeout.
Oh,
so
yeah.
If you're getting like really out of control, they just shut down your pack and they're like, you're out for 5 or 10 minutes or whatever. So,
but Disney doesn't want to deal with any of that. That's the thing, right?
I could do that when I was working at Laser Tag Place. I had a remote control that I would walk around with, and I could press a button that would just deactivate them for like a minute. You know what I mean? Like, so I could turn them off for like a minute if they were misbehaving. Like, so yeah, they could totally do that. I did want to say, like, what about to your Void idea, Damon? Right? Like, instead of laser tag, we go to not full VR but go to AR. And instead of them going against each other...
But you hate AR.
I don't hate AR. I don't have a problem with AR. I mean, I don't hate AR. Why? Because of the Mario Kart thing?
You hate AR.
I don't. If AR's done well, I mean, I don't have a problem with it. But I mean, wouldn't that be cool, though, too? Like, if you're walking around and instead of shooting at each other, you're shooting at, things that are...
So like a ride.
Targets and stuff.
Not a ride, but like,
Well, I mean, it would be kind of like a ride, though.
Huh?
I mean, it would kind of be like a ride, which would be fine.
It would just be walking, though, instead. I mean, you're not actually, like,
I actually like that better than a ride because then you can actually, like, aim and whatnot without getting thrown around in a vehicle.
Yeah, it's basically the Void, except with VR. Instead of VR, it's AR. And you're walking around the Star Wars.
And then the other thing that comes up is that you have Universal sitting over there absolutely caking out on Halloween because they have...
Oh, yeah.
Their haunted stuff, right?
Yeah.
Is this just the perfect Death Trooper like experience? I mean, it is
an adult's night for
well, just for that. So yeah. I think, and again, what I'm kind of thinking of is that you utilize this to its actual maximum potential without having to retain cast members. So again, this would just be a use during that season with whatever other use that it has. But if you had that ship themed, again, Death Troopers is perfect. There's a book written, right? It's not canon anymore, I guess, right? I don't think it is. I don't think Death Troopers is.
Extended universe stuff seems to have all been...
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. They write their own even better than they make money from the book as well, right? Great. Mm-hmm. They write their own new Death Troopers or something. Listen, a little less Death Troopery, right? Like a little less Death Troopery.
Softer Death Trooper.
A little softer. But I think if you do something like that on top of whatever your other plan is, that allows you to compete a little bit because, look, while we want to say that they're not going after the same audience, it really is. They're going after money. And, and it's all the same money at the end of the day. So I don't know. I wouldn't mind that. I think that would be a fun experience. And I would pay. I would listen, if it was done well, I'd almost pay crazy prices to do something like that.
And to your point, that's kind of one of the big things that seems like was lacking with the current hotel or the hotel that's shutting down is that, it's very much perceived as a one and done. Right. Mm-hmm. Even though it's branching or, the story can change and stuff. Overall, the end result is the same. So it's kind of, well, once you've done it, you've done it. But, to your point of, if they set this up that it was, this, a game or an interactive experience, but it had a seasonal rotation to it. That means, exactly what you're saying is, people have a reason to come back and check it out at different times a year.
Trevor, they do Halloween like all year, I feel like now anyway. So
don't get me started on.
Could you imagine the Christmas special redone? Listen, we'll go from Halloween into the Wookiee Christmas special.
Life Day.
Life Day, we're all good there, right?
All right. Star Wars Life Day.
I brought this up before, but I'm going to bring it up again. What if to Damon's point, right? So like they can go two routes with what I'm about to say. You probably know what I'm going to do. I say they do. I mean, they could even do this for Halloween. They could turn it into the Nostromo and do an alien thing for Halloween, but make it an escape room. Like you have to.
That is a crazy huge escape room.
Yes, it is.
It's almost too big, isn't it?
I don't know. I'm sure they can figure out.
It is. I mean because that's hard because they're like escape rooms are entirely built on detail, and when you've got like
The rooms are almost too big. Like
when you've got a room that's like, a scale of 7 or 8 times larger than any other escape room, guaranteed people are not going to catch the key to get out of here was actually on, the 10 meters down the left wall.
221.
Maybe escape room is the wrong word. The wrong words.
But, yeah.
It's more like you're in the hotel and the xenomorph is somewhere in the hotel with you.
Oh, that's even worse. I would be so down for that, like a xenomorph based thing, but that just would not work for Disney. I want to change gears.
I'm just saying if Disney went crazy and went extreme.
So here's where I want to completely change gears on this. We've been talking entirely about Star Wars.
Yeah.
I want this to be an Indiana Jones interactive experience.
Well, then they got to redo the whole thing.
Yeah.
But they're redoing, it's closing anyway. What's like...
Yeah. They got to retheme all of it then, though,
Yeah, which they could. But
yeah.
think about this. Back to your point about the xenomorph is that, some of those long hallways, you can repurpose that with a boulder at the end that, they can do new ways to make, a boulder seem like it's moving at you when it's not, or it's on, I don't know, like they've got repurpose one of the droids, but it's got like a big boulder face in front of it or something. but just to completely change it, but also still make it relevant to Hollywood studios is what I'm thinking. Change it to something else. Or change the IP. It doesn't have to be a Star Wars IP. And I just think, Indiana Jones is really lacking in experiences, and especially now that they're kind of revisiting it.
But they're revisiting it for a finale, I feel like, right? What does that mean going forward?
For the finale with Harrison Ford, yes. That doesn't mean that that universe is done necessarily.
Yeah, but what is Indiana Jones without Harrison Ford, though, right? I know they tried to pass the baton already. They tried to pass the baton already. It didn't really work out, right? So
the ride's still good, and the show's still good.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it could have lasting power.
I'm still stuck on this idea of the dinner show, turning into Hoop-de-Doo Star Wars. I feel like they could do it, and they can make really good money on it, and it would work.
The funny thing is it already had that. It's just it was wrapped into the larger experience. Yeah.
You eliminate all the expensive parts of it, basically. All the running a hotel. They still have some performers and stuff, but they don't have to run a hotel anymore. They just have to run a dinner show. I think people would pay for that. I would probably do it. You do a dinner show, you do the Star Wars-y kind of food, they had all that really weird and cool food. That would be kind of a cool experience. I'd probably do it. Now, I don't know how many people they can fit in that dining room because I don't know how big it is. So maybe it's not practical. Maybe they can only fit 50 people in there, and then it just becomes just not enough capacity. But I don't know. I'm stuck on that idea. I just do not see Disney just closing this and doing nothing with it. There's so much they can do with upsell stuff where they can make money on it. I just, the wedding venue thing too. I feel like it's going to happen. I don't know why. I just feel like it could.
Again, I'm being that this is reckless speculation. I'm saying, your dining room experience thing. Why could they not repurpose more than half of where the hotel rooms are and make 3 dining rooms and triple the capacity on it, and then more dining. Throughout the day, you've got 9 dining experiences running. Right.
I'm just thinking, does Disney want to spend more money on this? Probably not. I'm just thinking, what would they do to try to utilize what they have without spending any more money? You know what I mean? That's where my mind's at. But you're right. They could. They have all the space. They could just tear out all the rooms and make more space. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel even building new dining rooms is not that expensive an endeavor because of the fact that they already have the template for it. Because I know what you're saying is, Disney doesn't like to spend money, but Disney will also reuse, right? So if they can, copy that dining room 3 times, that may be justified enough for them to do it.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
All right. Well, listen, we said we were going to keep these wait lists to a half hour. We're coming up on a half hour. Final thoughts on this.
I feel like I won. I don't know. I feel like I just won.
I didn't know that this was a competition, Damon. I like that earlier you said, some people are really competitive and you're claiming you won the episode.
Yes. I have to this time because you know what? Because I didn't even think about it before. It just came to me.
It just came to you.
I'm down for laser tag. So yeah.
Listen,
I'm in on that.
I'm with you guys. I'm down for laser tag too. I just, in my mind, I'm just thinking that I feel like it's really plausible that they could do a wedding venue or they could do the dining events.
Maybe you have dinner
listen,
after laser tag.
Yeah, I give you the dining events. The wedding venue thing, I just don't see it. I just don't think it's cost effective.
Yeah.
Listen, there are some people that do Star Wars themed weddings. I mean,
sure, but are you telling me there's going to be 365 of them a year, every year?
Oh, no. I think that it's like one of those things that they would do like a couple times a year. But I mean,
then
they
it's
do
just
that
not cost effective.
Yeah,
but
then they're charging like $100K plus for a wedding.
They'd have to charge $1 million something a wedding. I feel like to make that effective.
I mean, people rent out the entirety of Magic Kingdom for weddings, and it doesn't cost that much. It doesn't cost $1 million, but it costs a lot, obviously. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I just see it being plausible. I see them adding it to. I mean, remember you could rent out some rides and do it in rides. You could do it in the Great Movie Ride. You could have your wedding there. And we saw people renting out parts of Epcot when Trevor and I were there.
Yeah,
we saw a random wedding.
Yeah.
I just could see it.
I like how we went to closing thoughts and you're still defending your wedding pavilion idea.
I'm good. All right. Well, okay.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
That's been the Waitlist. Thanks for listening to us talk about this, and we'll talk to you next week.
This is Skipper Albert Awol, the voice of the jungle, signing off from Welcome Home Podcast on the DVC.
Do a huddle when we hit a chair. How she can cuddle is no man's affair. I looked around from pole to pole, found her in a sugar bowl, eating